Hello, I'm Dr. Juan Manuel Jimenez Robles. Today we will be talking about practicing forgiveness for the Hope House in Bradford. So, what are we doing today? We are going to learn about forgiveness and its benefits. We will learn how to forgive, and we will need a pen and a paper. Here in the picture, you can see a sculpture of Josefina Vasconcellos. It's called Reconciliation, and it's just outside the University of Bradford. And it's about the reencounter of a woman and a man after a long time of not being together. Great, so let's start with what is forgiveness. So Dr. Robert Enright from International Forgiveness Institute in USA defines forgiveness as follows. Forgiveness is overcoming the resentment toward the offender by offering the offender compassion, mercy, and love, because we are aware the offender is more than his or her offense. And by doing that, we are set free ourselves. So we are released to keep walking in life without being stuck in a tragic event of the past. When we come to forgiveness, we need to be aware that we are dealing with emotions, basically, like things like anger and resentment. So it is important also to start defining what is anger and resentment. So let me read for you from here. It says that anger is an emotional response to a real or imagined wrong or injustice. Anger can be a good thing. It can be adaptive. It can motivate you to find solutions to problems and to face injustices, but excessive and lasting anger may become toxic, producing stressing hormones, which may cause physical and mental problems. And resentment is linked to anger. Basically, resentment is the experiences of past injustices, real or perceived, and the old feeling of anger connected to them. So resentments form when people get angry toward a person, institution, or situation and hold on to that anger. Something interesting that I will like to mention too is that a study that took place at Duke University on happiness, they identify 8 sources of happiness and also of unhappiness. And this study found out that resentment was factor number 1 for living unhappy lives. Forgiving others, leave that's from resentment. So that's why forgiving can be so good and so beneficial for us. This Duke University found out that living with resentment was factor number 1 for living unhappy lives, and forgiveness deals basically with this, with resentment. And also living in the past, preoccupied with past mistakes, was factor number 2 for unhappiness, leading to depression. And this is linked to forgiving ourselves, which liberates us from dwelling in past mistakes too. It's very interesting that forgiveness, forgiving others and forgiving ourselves are the 2 main factors related to happiness, to living a happy lives. Here there are some of the health benefits of forgiveness, and there are plenty of health benefits that researchers have found out in the last 30, 40 years. So people who forgive are more likely to have fewer episodes of depression, higher self-esteem, more friends, healthier relationships, longer marriages, lower blood pressure, less anxiety, stress, and hostility, closer relationships, fewer stress-related health issues, better immune system function, lower rates of heart disease, lower rates of alcohol and substance abuse, and greater spiritual and psychological well-being. So, as you see, forgiving really brings many benefits to our lives. So today we are gonna focus on this model. It's called the Rich Model. It's by Professor of Psychology Everett Worthington. Basically, we are gonna see 5 steps to help us to forgive, and it's something that we can practice um, ourselves. So once you learn the 5 steps, you can put into practice, and that can help you to forgive others when you're struggling to forgive someone that harmed you. But here we read that we can learn to forgive through applying this 5-step method of forgiving transgressions we have experienced. But like learning any skill, it is best to first practice on an issue of moderate importance. Once we have learned the 5 steps, we can apply them to a variety of hearts and broaden our forgiving character. So as you see, we will start from the bottom, starting with recall the heart will be the first one. Second one will be empathize. The third step will be altruistic for forgiveness. The fourth one will be commit publicly to forgive. And the fifth one will be hold on to forgiveness. But before we go into the model, it's important to make a difference between decisional and emotional forgiveness. So in psychology, we say there are 2 types of forgiveness. So decisional forgiveness is deciding not using the offense against the offender during our interactions. It is possible to carry out the decision faithfully for years and still feel emotional unforgiveness, resentment, and even hate. So basically, you can decide forgive even if you don't feel it, but that means that you wouldn't use um, the mistake of the person that hurt you. You wouldn't use to against that person because you have decided to forgive. And then emotional forgiveness, it will be like the proper forgiveness that brings all the benefits to us, really. So emotional forgiveness is the emotional replacement of negative and forgiving emotions like resentment or hate with more positive or less negative other oriented emotions like empathy, compassion, or love towards the offender. While sometimes occurring together, usually a decision of forgiveness occurs first and emotional forgiveness later on. Yeah, so we as mentioned before some benefits of forgiveness, but specifically more benefits of emotional forgiveness. We can see here some physical and some mental and well-being benefits. So emotional forgiveness promotes better physical health for our hearts, our immune systems, our gastrointestinal systems, our brain functioning, and our lower stressfulness, among others. And it also promotes mental health and well-being, since it reduces rumination, which means less chance of depression, anxiety, anger-related disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, or post-traumatic stress disorders, among others. And as Dr. Stephen Sherry says, forgiving is going to be difficult, but it is healing, and it's a healing agony. So forgiveness is hard. It's not easy to forgive someone when someone has hurt you. It can be agonic, can be difficult, but it's a healing process. Okay, so let's have a look to the model itself, Rich Model of Forgiveness, the 5 steps. Yeah, I encourage you now to have a pen and a paper, and we will go together through something that you would like to forgive. So an event that you would like to forgive. So the first step is recall the heart. So I'm gonna ask you now to describe the event that you would like to forgive. what we call the target transgression. Please don't use names. You can designate the person who hired you by initials or by a pseudonym. You can write it in your own language. So I'm gonna give you 3-4 minutes to do this. While you do that, I'm gonna play a little video in the background of a fire. In Valencia, Spain, where I come from, we celebrate with Las Fallas. So each March, around 400 outdoor art installations are deliberately burned to the ground in this act of creativity and rebirth. Forgiveness implies a rebirth too. So yeah, I give you now 3-4 minutes to describe an event that you would like to forgive. Write it down, and remember, it doesn't have to be something really harmful or something too easy. Something of moderate level that you would like to forgive. Yeah, just looking for the video now. Okay, great. So I leave this video in the background for 3 minutes while you write down the band that you would like to forgive. Great. I hope you had time to write down the event you would like to forgive. Um, so we are still in the first step. Is recall the heart, and now um, now we continue to the next one. Let me see. I got here the screen. Okay, need to stop this now. Um, oops. Okay. So yeah, you have written the event, and now I would like to ask you to write briefly how you felt and reacted to the event in the days following it, and important things that might have happened since. So that event that you would like to forgive, just write down in a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, how you felt after that happened the following days. Okay, I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes. Um, Great. So we're gonna do the next step now. The next thing we have to do is start related to recalling the heart. So now I would like to ask you to write the story again, but this time without emphasizing the perpetrator's badness or your own victimization or the consequences this has had. So just try to be aseptic, um, not putting any feelings or emotions, just describing what happened without any feelings or emotion related, just the act, the event itself. So again, you got a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Great. So if you are here with me, you have written two stories. The first one, the event that you would like to forgive, where maybe you mentioned some how you felt, some emotions, what happened the days after. But now you have a story without those emotions, just describing the event itself. Um, so can you see any differences between the first and second versions of your story? Yes, have a look for one minute. Um, okay, now we are gonna do a little exercise. Um, we can stand and imagine you are holding the heart in your hands. Hold your arms out of your body. Stretch your arms. Yes, you are trying to keep it contained inside your hands. That harm, that pain. You are trying to keep it at arm's length from you. But after about a minute of this, your arms will get tired and feel heavy and burdensome. Can you see how this is a metaphor for holding onto grudges? Now, imagine yourself making a decision to release the heart. Think, I decide to forgive my offender. And to symbolize this, open your hands and suddenly let your arms fall to your sides. You could do this exercise with actually holding an object that represents the heart too. Great. Now we go to this second phase of the pyramid of the rich model. So we have recalled the heart, and now we go. We're gonna try to empathize with our offender. So I would like to encourage you to write about a time when you hurt someone. What did you feel, think, see, and do before, during, and after you hurt someone? So yeah, so think about a time when you hurt another person to yourself. You did something wrong to another person. Um, so I'm gonna leave again a couple of minutes. Um, you can write it down if you want, or think about it for a couple of minutes. Okay. And now, in relation to the target transgression that you would like to forgive, write about what you think your offender was experiencing when that person harmed you. And by feeling empathy or compassion for the person who hurt you, it lowers your negative feelings of unforgiveness, and it makes it a bit easier to step into forgiveness. So yeah, just write for in a couple of minutes. What do you think your offender was experiencing when he or she harmed you? Great. Um, the third step in this model, after recalling the heart and trying to empathize with our offender, is the gift of forgiveness, altruistic gift. Write about a time when you did something altruistic or unselfish to benefit another person. Describe what you did and describe how you felt about doing it. So I'll leave you here a couple of minutes to. Great. Um, now, um, recalling a time when you needed forgiveness. Think back to a time in your past when you hurt someone or did something wrong and you needed forgiveness and were granted forgiveness. So just think for a minute something that you did wrong in the past and you also needed forgiveness in your life. Here it says write a description of the event. Focus on how good it felt to receive forgiveness and the feeling of freedom you received when the burden of guilt was lifted. Um, yeah, you can write it for a couple of minutes, or you can just think about it now. Um, Maybe don't worry right now about writing that, but just think about how good it felt to be forgiven. And now, in thinking about how you felt when you were forgiven and about how good it feels to do something altruistic, wouldn't you like to forgive the person who hurt you? You think it would be something good to forgive someone who hurt you? The fourth step, the fourth level in the pyramid, will be commit to any forgiveness you experienced. Um, so up to this point, um, maybe you're thinking that it could be good to forgive that person, but forgiveness Forgiveness is hard, as we said. Is can be difficult, um, and maybe you are just thinking like a 40-50% that you would like to forgive, but you're not experiencing 100% yet that you really want to forgive. That so at this point, is something good to write your intention to try to forgive. For example, by completing a certificate of forgiveness. So you can write this in the paper that you are using, or in a different paper, what we call a certificate of forgiveness. Um, you can write, I declare to myself that as of the date of today, 2022, I have forgiven this person for this thing that he or she did to me. And then sign it. And keep it for you. There is a commitment of forgiveness. There is a decision of forgiveness there. And then the last one will be hold on to forgiveness. And yeah, something good to do about it is share with a friend that you have forgiven this person, or have a look to your certificate of forgiveness now and then. And there is another exercise that you could do. You can write a brief description of the transgression on your hand, or even just the word heart. Maybe even in your own language, the word heart in your own language. And then after you do that, you can go to the bathroom and wash it off. Just put a bit of water, try to wash it off. Were you able to get all the ink off just at once? Probably not. And this is the same with forgiveness. We can move through the rich forgiveness steps once, and it probably won't totally erase our bad feelings about the transgression, but it will lighten them. And through repeated washings, we become free of the negative, unforgiving feelings. So yeah, I would like to encourage you to go through this process, through this model, as many times as you need to forgive that transgression, and and that will help you to get rid of that resentment and that toxic anger that makes you unhappy. Because forgiveness, as we said, it liberates us from that resentment, and help us to be more free people, and more happy people. So I hope it was helpful for you to do this exercise, to have a look together to this topic of practicing forgiveness here at Hop House in Bradford. And yeah, thank you for being so patient with me.